Confidence is energy. How to build magnetic, faith-fueled confidence that can't be faked. You guys, this is going to be an awesome podcast show episode. You don't want to miss this because there's things within this episode that you're going to think, wow, I did not realize that when I was showing up in that way, that was showing a lack of confidence. Our energy wasn't quite right. So let's create magnetic confidence, shall we? And before we get started, I want to invite you to the Women of Action Academy. If you scan the little QR code at the top of your screen, that will take you directly to the community. It's free. Okay, why wouldn't you? Join my community, and we're creating a sisterhood in there. Confidence is a big thing, okay? Fitness is a big thing. Stepping into your feminine energy, be faith-fueled, Confidence, just so you guys know, a lot of it has to do with your faith, So, and I'm going to talk about that in this episode. So go ahead, join me and others. I just launched it. I'm excited about it. Let's rock and roll. Let's have some fun in there. Let's help some folks and connect and create a wonderful sister group. Confidence isn't something you wear. It's a frequency we carry, okay? In this episode, I'm going to unpack the neuroscience, psychology, and faith behind true confidence. Learn how movement, belief, and the nervous system regulation create the energy that draws respect, opportunity, and peace. Don't you think we need to help every woman in this world do that? I do. We have a lot of people that, are lacking confidence, and I want to help people bring that in. Let's tighten it up. Let's help everyone become more confident. So confidence is energy. You can fake words, you can fake smiles, but you can't fake frequency. When you walk in a room anchored in faith, see, this is where the faith ties in. You're walking in faith. People feel it before you even speak. Okay, you'll reveal how faith, in this episode, I'm going to reveal how faith, movement, and mindset produce measurable energetic confidence. I'm going to talk about imposter syndrome, things like that, okay? What that looks like. Guys, I've experienced that in my life too, okay? I grew up being told I was stupid, that I would never amount to anything. My GPA was like between 1.5 and 1.8. I was a dropout, a teen mom. I felt like I was always trying to prove that I belonged. And I'll show you some examples. I'll talk to you about some examples of what that looks like when you're always trying to prove that you should be there, okay? The faith foundation, true confidence, is trust in source. So if you've never heard God, which his real name is Yahweh, if you've never heard, some people will say the source, okay? Or the creator, okay? There's different terms that people make. But remember that you're a child of God. All of us are, okay? We're a child of God, of Yahweh. And imagine you have a piece of that power, that source in us, right? It's not self-inflation. If you look up, we're getting a little spiritual here. Isaiah 30:15, in quietness and confidence shall be your strength. Now, there's times I've been my tone comes off a little strong, okay? But that's because that's my passion, and that's part of my faith, knowing that he gave that to me, right? So if you are passionate about something and you share it, that doesn't mean you're lacking confidence, but in your faith that you need to get a message across. And sometimes the tone, there's fluctuations in it when you are really trying to get your point across. And I believe I was given, just as you were, your different skills, your experiences, how you show all of that, and there's always room for tweaking and getting better so that maybe our message kind of lands, I think we'll all get better with that. I think even the best of the best are working on that. Okay. We should never stop growing and evolving. We're always working on our skills. Faith replaces fear with conviction. And it also, when you do that, when you have faith, knowing that, you know, you are a child of God, knowing that not to shrink. You know what I mean? It's an energy. It's like you walk in owning the room. Okay. So if you have, but it comes from a strong faith that you know you're a child of God and you belong, that you can be great, that you know, do belong. Okay. And also when you do that, when you have that faith, it lowers our cortisol. And it helps with our breath, which breath is really important too. Like breath work. You know what I mean? When you're anxious, our breath, you know, our breathing changes. Confidence is faith made visible. Okay, that's a quote. Confidence is faith made visible. Let's talk about imposter syndrome culture. We're going to call that out. Okay, all of us. I don't know, even billionaires, millionaires, they've all experienced imposter syndrome. And I think this is an important topic to address. And so I wanted to dive into maybe some examples. So let's talk about workplace business imposter syndrome, what that looks like. And put it in the comments, like if you've ever experienced this, you know, that's what a sisterhood is like about. You know, we're real. We share where we can improve. We feel like this is a group of sisterhood that we can be real. We can share, you know, where we want to get better. We can share where we failed. We can share our successes, all of the things, right? So, you know, these hit especially for women who've achieved success, yet still question their right to be there. Guys, I've done very well in corporate, okay? But there were times, a lot, that I still would question myself and, you know, not show up with that strong faith that Yahweh gave me, that is in me, that I do belong. Okay. Regardless of what a piece of paper says, if I have a degree, whatever. Okay. So the same applies to you. So here's some examples of what that looks like. You get invited into a boardroom or a leadership meeting and immediately start over explaining your credentials. I didn't do that a lot, but I have done that before because you feel like you have to prove you belong. You know, I do that still. I still catch myself doing that here on these social media platforms because it's like sometimes people don't know you. You know what I mean? So it's almost like look, I want to tell you what I've achieved. Like, I pay attention. I might know something because I've done very well. Well, you might show up, you know, in these, you know, online. Mine's more online, but you keep explaining your credentials because you want to prove that you belong. We've all been there, right? It may not be a boardroom or something, but it could be something, another space in your life. You've hit sales goals. You still wait for someone to discover you're not that smart. You might be experiencing that. You're like, you've hit your goals. You're doing great, but you're waiting for someone to discover that, you know, like for me, that I never told anyone in corporate, you know, as I moved up the ladder in banking, I never told anyone that I only had a 1.5 to 1.8 GPA. I didn't tell them I failed math. I didn't tell them all those things because then obviously they'd discover that I did say I was a dropout. I went back and got a GED, but I was more trying to help people that didn't think they belonged because you know, I wanted to just like squash the whole idea that you had to have this degree to go work in banking. I was like, guys, I didn't even get past pre-algebra and I made it to vice president. How is that working out? You know what I mean? How does that match up to what they teach? You have to go to school. You have to get a degree to get a great job. And I'll be honest, like I was bringing in millions and lots of revenue to the organizations, the institutions, and I got paid pennies for my work, just so you know. That's why I realized, why am I not starting my own business? Why don't I create my own wealth instead of having this ceiling? Maybe you minimize your ideas in meetings. Maybe this is stupid, but I was thinking before sharing something brilliant. I used to think that all the time, like they're going to think this is stupid. Like it was common sense things, like I had these ideas and I would think sometimes maybe they're going to think this is dumb, but it was the simple things that actually worked. It was crazy. You hesitate to raise your prices or negotiate a deal, even though you know your value, because deep down you fear you're going to be found out. So let's read that one again, because that's a lot of people experience that. You hesitate to raise your prices or negotiate a deal, even though you know your value, because deep down you fear being found out. Or maybe that's not it. You fear raising your prices or negotiating a deal because you don't like confrontation, or you don't want to have to overcome their objections. That could be it. You think success happened by luck or timing, not preparation. I would say I'm super lucky just because, but I think that Yahweh is part of that. I think that he's creating the luck. You know what I'm saying? He's creating, let's just call them opportunities. But also, some people just, I don't know. It's like experience and just keeping it real, keeping it like simple, like building relationships, helping someone, serving, you know what I mean? Just different things like that. Here's a truth bomb for you. That's not humility, that's a habit. So you've got to you got so used to surviving that you forgot how to stand tall in what you've already learned and earned. Okay, now let's talk about feminine and confidence imposter syndrome, how that applies. So you look in the mirror after getting dressed up and you immediately second guess if you look too confident. I when I read these, I like try to think about my own life. There were times I would, am I overdressed for this meeting? Am I overdressed for, what? Because you never know who you're going to be interviewing with or who you're going to be meeting. Sometimes business guys, people that own businesses, they're just a t-shirt and jean type guy. You know what I mean? So when you go in and you want a mirror, you go in looking to the nines. Are we looking too confident? Are we too dressed up? You want to be on my show? Yeah. Look at this little one. I thought it'd be a good time to go live because she's watching cartoons. You say hi? It's different because you can't see yourself. She's got wild hair. I think her mom's doing some nails. Huh? Okay. Go get a cup. You tone down your voice, your laugh, and your energy so you won't intimidate others. That's another one. Sometimes I have a loud laugh. Might scare people. You crazy girl. You're unstoppable. Okay, you stop posting your wins because you're scared someone will call you cocky or self-absorbed. That's another, imposter syndrome. Hi, honey. What are you talking? I'm talking, I'm doing a show. You want to see what it looks like if I go like this? Look. Say hi. That's Halston. All right. You say yes when you want to say no because nice feels no. Oh man, girlfriend. It's okay. You hide your faith. Oh, I didn't finish that. You say yes when you want to say no because nice feels safer than authentic. See, we have to be, when we want to say no, just say no. I think we need to remember to say no because that takes away from our mission. If something does take away from our mission, sometimes you got to say no. Okay. You hide your faith, but you know what? Sometimes you can, compromise. In marriage, you got to compromise. But I'm just saying that don't feel bad if sometimes you feel like you need to say no. No, no, no. Say yes. Sorry, I said that. You hide your faith or sensuality in public spaces because you feel taught that both can't coexist. They can. I'm here to tell you. That's not modesty, that's conditioning. You were conditioned to believe that, and you were taught that confidence is arrogance when it's actually alignment. Here's imposter syndrome with your faith. You feel called to start a podcast, a business, or a ministry, but you tell yourself, who am I to teach anyone? How many have done that? You downplay your testimony because it doesn't look like everyone else's. You pray for opportunities, then you get them and immediately feel unqualified. You're waiting for permission from a title, a certification, an endorsement before you act on the vision Yahweh already gave you. Boom! That's a good one, right? You are a child of God. I'm a child of God. He already put this in our heart. We have him, his power instilled in us. We have the source. So, if he's given us that and he gave us the vision, why are we having imposter syndrome? Why are we waiting for permission, right? You equate humility with hiding your gifts. You keep asking for a sign, but Yahweh already sent you one. It's the fire that won't shut up inside of you. And guess what? You don't want to die with regrets, right? No, you don't. And if you feel the fire in you, if you can't stop thinking about it, that's your sign. Here's a fitness imposter syndrome plus self-worth, okay? You skip workouts after a bad eating day because you feel like you failed. You discredit progress because it's not perfect. You don't look like the other people online. Maybe the girls that are doing the shows, you know what I mean? They look perfect, and so you discredit your progress. Don't do that, okay? Progress is progress. I only worked out 3 days, so it doesn't count. I personally work out every single day. I think you should move your body every single day. But if you're just getting started, let's say only could make it 3 days, that's progress, okay? So I didn't work out. I think I worked out I don't know if I worked out 7 days a week in the very, very beginning, but it got pretty soon it was like, I love this so much. I need it every day. It was like praying. You know what I mean? You shrink your goals around others so they don't feel comfortable about your discipline. Oh my gosh, that's good. You shrink your goals around others so they don't feel uncomfortable because you have a lot of discipline. I've done that. You praise other women's transformation stories, but can't accept compliments on your own. When someone tells you, you are looking great, don't say, no, I don't. You want to say thank you because you've worked your ass off, right? You're not an imposter. You're in progress. Progress is proof you're in the room doing the work. Ooh, here's a social media success imposter syndrome. Okay, let's see what these look like. You delete posts because they didn't get enough likes. I have deleted posts in the past because I was like, okay, does this really align? I started questioning myself later. I was feeling the fire. I don't know. I used to never delete my posts, but for some reason I have recently because I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm in a season. I don't know. I don't know why I have, because if I felt it that day, I felt it that day. Like, you want to hate me for it? Hate me for it. Like, I don't think we should. It was part of our life, part of our journey. We felt it that day. Sometimes we feel more fire than others. Sometimes we feel, more peace and calm. But some days we do feel that passion. And when you come out like that with your passion, that's just part of who you are. Why can't we be real, right? And if anybody doesn't align with that, then bye. You can go, just swipe. Okay, you feel guilty charging for your gift because you just want to help people. I've done that before. I have felt guilty charging for my gift because I just love helping people. Okay, but women, you deserve to make money. You deserve to be paid if you're helping someone move forward. I believe in giving a lot away, but at some point you got to make some money too. You equate low engagement with low worth. I want you to know that if no one's seeing you, you are still worthy, okay? Just don't even look at the likes. Don't look at the views. Don't look at any of that. Just, it's like your journal. Your social media is for you, okay? And your journal. Think of it like a journal, because this is how I'm, you know, as people come back and visit your page, your kids, your generations after you, they'll know who you were. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'm a little hot. Sometimes I'm a little cold. Sometimes I'm a little, we're a lot of everything. Okay. Don't put me in a box. I've always said that. Social media metrics don't measure your mission. Stop letting algorithms define your authority. All right. Those are so good. Okay. I wanted to make sure and give you examples in all of those areas, because I feel like a lot of folks experience that. What do you think? Tell me in the comments if one of them, stood out more than others. So let's move forward. Okay. The neuroscience of confidence, the prefrontal cortex, okay, the decision center. Confidence strengthens neural pathways through repetition and action. So when you do that, when say going to the gym, when you go to the gym every day and you do it, your brain, you're building confidence. You're strengthening your confidence through doing that repetition and action. Isn't that amazing? When you are doing a challenge and your legs are burning and shaking after 25 squats, and you want to quit but you keep pushing through, that you're helping your prefrontal cortex. You're building your decision center. You're building your confidence. Okay, it's strengthening. Amygdala, that's a funky word and I might be saying it wrong. Okay, the threat detector. Deep breathing and gratitude calm it, and fear subsides. So when you feel that anxiousness, that threat, okay, just deep breathing, breathe through it. Even if you say a prayer, I think just like calm, saying a prayer like out loud, and that he's got your back, it really does help. Dopamine loop. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, dopamine rewards you. It's that chemical that rewires self-belief in yourself. Posture feedback. I'll tell you, my fitness journey over 10 years has been the number one thing that has helped me in my confidence and self-belief. So if you're not doing that, if you're not consistent, if you lie to yourself and don't keep promises, if you're not stacking the wins each day, then you're going to have a lack of confidence. But if you are doing that, that's what helps. All of these things help, okay? Posture feedback. Standing tall changes the vagus nerve tone and testosterone and cortisol ratio. The power pose effect. That's a Harvard study. They've studied it, and they said the posture feedback, standing tall, okay? Your body teaches your brain what to believe. Mindset is huge, okay? Energy and vibration. Let's talk about that. Mirror neurons cause others to sync with your emotional state. That's why insecure energy makes rooms anxious, and faith energy calms storms. There's craziness going on in the world right now, right? We have people just like losing their minds with the food, with the government, with the banks, with all these areas, right? Culture. I mean, so many areas, the evil in the world, right? And it can create people to feel anxious. I'm secure knowing I can see through it. Okay, I might talk about it sometimes because I want to bring awareness to it, and I want to call out the bullshit, and I want to kind of set the tone, clear the air for people. And that comes from my faith energy. Okay, so hopefully I'm calming the storms. I'm helping people, calm their anxious feelings. Okay. All right. You can tie your workouts. Motion produces endorphins plus serotonin, and that gives you magnetic energy. Let me read that again. Your workouts, that motion, that moving your body, right? It increases endorphins plus serotonin, and that will give you magnetic energy. Change your frequency through movement, prayer, music. I love music. When I was a kid, that's how I got through my trauma. Was there would be something chaotic as hell that would go on, and I would grab my sister, or I would want to dance or move. I cried. I felt the thing. I felt what I went through, but I always had movement. It wasn't, I didn't grow up going to church, so we weren't big prayer. I didn't pray per se, but I believed in something bigger than myself, and that gave me peace. But music and just playing, having fun, those things were magic for me. Absolute magic. Okay, faith, fitness, fire. Faith, morning declarations. I am sent. I am safe. I am ready. Speak that you are. I am. Okay, I am a child of God. I have power. I am fire. I am safe. I am ready. Okay, fitness, 20 minutes at least. 20-minute sweat resets your chemistry faster than pep talks. If you get up and just have a routine, like you just do it on repeat, it just becomes who you are. It's crazy how it just is a game changer in your life. Okay, fire, serve someone daily. Confidence grows when you create impact. That's why I love impact so much, because I always feel so freaking good when I give back, or when I know I've helped someone, or a message, or my action, or something. Okay, it touched someone. And if I help one person, that just makes me feel good. Energy expands when it flows. Stagnation breeds self-doubt. So here's a little activation challenge. Keep one small promise to yourself today. Move for 20 minutes with intent. Call it your conference. Call it your confidence rep. Okay? This is my confidence rep. That's why I'm doing this 30-day challenge. You guys, seriously, it's like one habit. Can I do 100 hill elevated squats a day? And by doing that every day, you're going to find that you're going to like the changes that you get in your body. Plus, you are going to be more confident because you actually completed it. You're going to begin to have more self-belief in yourself. You're going to believe that you can do other hard things. If you write in a journal, you could write this journal prompt. When do I feel most alive in my body, and how can I honor that more often? All right. Confidence isn't ego. It's not a bad thing, guys. It's actually a really good thing. It's energy anchored in faith. And when your energy is aligned, doors open that no man can shut. I tell you, that is why my energy is exactly why I had so many opportunities come my way. If this episode fired you up, share it with another woman who's ready to walk in her authority. Join the Women of Action on School, where faith, fitness, and fire rebuild confidence from the inside out. Y'all, if you don't know, I've got the link in the show notes. Join the community. I'm Tina Parker, and this was Confidence and Energy. Don't forget to subscribe and share this with another woman that you think needs to hear this message. Have a great day.